Good morning, children. We have learned how the rain is caused, or rather, how the clouds are formed and it leads to rain. The next topic which we have is the pollution of air. Right from primary classes, we have been learning this very often, how the air around us gets polluted, isn't it? So here also the question is given in the same format. How is the quality of air affected and how does that change affect the life? Okay, so let us move into that particular part. First of all, how is the air polluted? When the fossil fuels are burnt, fossil fuel means which? Fuel which is formed from the fossil. The coal and petroleum are the two important fossil fuels. When they are burned, they release nitrogen and sulfur into the atmosphere. The oxides of them are released into the atmosphere. So these oxides, they are very harmful to us because first of all your body is not used to adapted to inhaling those oxides. Our body is used to having oxygen only. Our blood system is such that it can utilize oxygen. Other gases or other material will be a pollutant. It would cause harm to the body. So here, when the gases of oxides of nitrogen and sulfur are inhaled, that can lead to respiratory problem. That is number one drawback which will happen, or number one effect to the human life. Secondly, when these gases dissolve in the rain, when it rains, these gases dissolve. Which gases? Oxides of sulfur and oxides of nitrogen dissolve in the rainwater, and that leads to acidic rain. Such an acidic rain, if it is more, it can cause harm to the standing crops, the monuments which are around, that is affected. Not only that, um, these are the two important problem which will occur when these gases are more in the atmosphere. Now, apart from that, it will also lead to respiratory problems. Okay, you have respiratory problems which takes place when you are taking in too much of this particular gases. Here it is given the third point. 2 points I marked it earlier. Third point is regular breathing of this air will lead to incidence of allergy, cancer and heart diseases. Is that point clear? So first of all, what is an air pollution? An increase in the content of harmful substances in the air is called air pollution. So this part will be the definition. So if you are asked to write the definition for 1 mark, this would be the definition. Okay, this is the third point of effect of to the human life. Okay, 3 points are this is the third point. Which are the remaining 2 points I told you? In the beginning part I told you that inhalation of the gases will be harmful because the oxides of nitrogen and sulfur are not suitable. Our body is not adapted for that. Secondly, the more amount of these gases will be, if it is present in the atmosphere during rain, it will dissolve and form acidic rain which will harm the standing crops and the monument around. Now, what happens if these particles, if the fossil fuels are burnt in the air? When the fossil fuels are burned, more amount of suspended particles will be liberated, and these particles will be having mainly unburnt carbon particles. Okay, suspended particles means it will have unburnt carbon particles. Such unburnt carbon particles, if they are more in the atmosphere, they will lead to lower visibility, because during cold regions when the water condenses, it leads to a smog. Okay, a smoggy condition. Remember in the previous video I told you, I explained an activity which is given in your text. What a bottle is taken in which 15 ml of water, 5 to 10 ml of water is taken. Then you close the bottle and place it in the sunlight. So what will happen? It gets saturated with water vapor. Then you are asked to introduce a burning incense stick into the bottle, let the smoke inside, and then immediately close the bottle and then shake it and keep it. So that environment which is created within the bottle is a foggy condition. So here also similar situation takes place. When the pollutant are present in the atmosphere, they along with the condensed water will result into a situation which is called the smog. Okay, it is a fog, but along with the smoky condition, it is referred to as a smog. and that smog means there is suspended particles in the environment. That is leading to respiratory problems because all those particles are inhaled by you. Is that point clear? So if a question on short note on air pollution is asked, how should you write it? You will have to first give me the definition, which I marked it for you over here in the last line. An increase in the content of harmful substance in the air is called air pollution, and then you explain how the air pollution takes place. That is because of the fossil fuel which are burned, there is too much of nitrogen and oxygen liberated into the atmosphere, and these will, with oxygen, will form oxides, and such oxides are harmful to the body. Now, how is it harmful? For that, the 3 points which I marked it for you. One is inhalation of these gases are dangerous. Secondly, acidic rain. You explain about the acidic rain. And third point is the allergic situations, cancer, allergic situations, or heart diseases which are caused in the body. Is that point clear? So this is how you sum up the matter. Okay. Next you are having is the questions over here. There are blue questions which are given. You try to find out the answer on your own. I actually have discussed all this in the previous video also. How is atmosphere on the Venus and Mars? You have this answer on the page, the very beginning of the chapter. You are having it, isn't it? It is mentioned on page number 189. You are given the amount of carbon dioxide which is present on the Mars and Venus. That is mentioned over. So you can find out the answer from there. You prepare the answer on your own. I will send the answers through the WhatsApp. Okay. The second question also, how does atmosphere act as a blanket? I discussed in detail how the atmosphere is controlling the climate. Do you remember in the previous video? Then how the wind is caused. The uneven heating of the earth causes wind. Okay. Then formation of the cloud, that is the water droplet, which is water vapor which has evaporated from the open reservoir, gets collected around the dust particle, and that forms a nucleus, and around the nucleus more amount of water vapor gets joined, and that forms a drop, and this drop becomes larger and larger along with the particles in the environment and forms a cloud. And when the cloud cannot be held more for long, it will come down as rain. Then human activities which is leading to air pollution. So human activities, what can you say? This is actually a very descriptive answer. You can write whatever knowledge you are having. It's not that you should restrict yourself to the textbook content. You can talk about industrialization, urbanization, deforestation, population explosion. All these are the situations which is leading to the air pollution. Is that point clear? Okay. Now the other topic which is given over here is the second important resource. So till now we discussed about what? Air. Air was a source. One of the natural resource is air. Second natural resource is water. Now water is explained as a wonderful liquid. Why do you call water as a wonderful liquid? First of all, do you know the extent of water in the atmosphere, on the earth? Yes. On the earth, a large area of water is present on the surface as well as also in the underground. Okay. Some amount of water is also present in the form of vapor in the atmosphere. So you have underground water, you have surface water in the open reservoirs, and also you have water in the form of vapor in the atmosphere. So three different forms you are having the water. Okay. Now most of the earth's water, maximum proportion you will find in the ocean and the seas, that is saline, which is not you cannot have it, it's not potable, you cannot drink it, isn't it? Because salt content is very high. But fresh water which we use for drinking is mainly trapped in the ice caps on the poles and the snow covered mountains. So they are frozen condition, fresh water. That is also again not available unless and until it melts and it converts into water and flows down into the streams and the river. It is not available, correct? Which means what is available to you? What amount of water is available to you? The available water which you use for drinking is the underground water and the water in the river, lakes and ponds which is available. So this portion constitutes very less compared to the entire distribution of water on the planet. Is that point clear? You have water in the open reservoir, you have it in the underground, you have water in the form of vapor in the atmosphere. Okay, now out of the water which is present on the planet, most of them are in the sea and the ocean in the saline form, which is not potable. Then major part of the fresh water is trapped in the snow-capped mountain and the poles. So finally what is left for us is the available water which is left for us is the underground water and the water in the river, lakes and ponds. Is that point clear? Again, this availability will differ from place to place, depending upon the geographical condition and from climate to climate, isn't it? Because by summer the water might dry out in the rivers and the lakes. Yes or no? Again, underground water also can percolate or can move to the other areas. Is that point clear? So therefore, the availability of water, fresh water, is very less. Is that point clear? And hence people have to face problem, or you say the water crisis are experienced when season change, especially during summer. Many parts of the planet at present are facing water shortage. Okay, now the most important question which comes is, why is water so necessary? See, the question is already printed in your text. Why is water so necessary? Because every cellular process requires water medium. Your cell is having cytoplasm, which is 90% water, isn't it? Fluid matter is present in the cytoplasm. All the reactions, all the biochemical reactions which are taking place in the cell, imagine if that water is not there or the fluid medium is not there, these reactions wouldn't be possible, isn't it? So the very first reason over here is all cellular processes are taking place in the water medium. Again, the reactions which are taking place within our body and within the cells are occurring between substances which are dissolved in water. You say that biochemical reactions are taking place, fine, and these reactions are taking place between the substances, but these substances are dissolved in the water medium. Clear? Third point is, they are transported from one place to the other in the dissolved form, isn't it? Transportation, you say blood is a medium of transporting the good and the waste in your body, but this blood is again fluid in nature, and that fluidity is because of the water proportion which is present inside. Most of the substances are in a dissolved form in the water that is transported in your body. Okay, next, so if we want to stay alive, if these biochemical reactions should go on, then the organism should maintain certain amount of water. If the water level reduces, do you know that if the water reduces by 10%, you can have danger of your life itself. 15% loss of water from your body is almost inviting death. Is that point clear? You say that you have gone into dehydration, you have to be immediately put on glucose saline water. Is that point clear? Okay. Now the terrestrial animals, terrestrial living creatures, they require fresh water because their bodies cannot tolerate high amount of dissolved salts. All the terrestrial life, only the animals which are, only the aquatic animals which are in ocean and the seas are capable of living in that salty condition. Otherwise, most of the life on the planet, the terrestrial life and the life in the fresh water, if you put them into the saline medium, that is the ocean or the seas, then they will die. There will be a question of survival. Is that point clear? Because their body is not used to it. So the water becomes a very important medium for animals and plants to survive on the land. Is that point clear? So this is regarding the importance of water in the body. Okay. Now, if we find the relation, if you think about, is there any relation between the amount of water which is available and the number of animals and plants which are living in that area? Yeah, you will find that most density of, or biodiversity means what? The plants and the animal life. maximum plants and animal life you will find in the region where there is water. Okay, so if the water is available, there you will find more density of life. There is a statistics which is given over here that in a region which is receiving 5 centimeter of rainfall in a year and a region is receiving 200 centimeter of rainfall in a year, where will you find more amount of life? Biodiversity kahan zyada hoga? Abundance of life, where is it? Yes, you will find that the major biodiversity will be in the region which is receiving maximum rainfall. So, availability of water will decide not only the number of individuals of the species which are able to survive in that area, but it will also decide the diversity of life. Means number of individuals of a particular species and variety of species. Okay, एक ही प्रकार के animals, that number of them, okay, say number of a particular bird or a number of particular plant species will be more in a region where water is available. Not only one type but variety of plants or variety of animals you will find in the region where water is available. So you find that most of the biodiversity will be found in the forest area, because forests are the places where you will get maximum rainfall. Water is available more, and hence what will happen? The biodiversity is more over there. Clear? The other factors, not only water availability, of course there are other factors, but main is the water availability that is determining the biodiversity in a given region. Now, if water is so important and water is playing a major role in the life, then the question comes, is it ever getting polluted? Well, of course, water also gets polluted. So this is the second question which you have been knowing from primary classes, because many things get dissolved in water, isn't it? So all that will pollute the water and will not make it potable for us. It will not be usable for us then, because some percentage of these substances of fertilizers, pesticides which are spraying, they will move into the water bodies. So this is one important way in which the water is polluted. Secondly, the sewage from the towns and the cities, they are also let out into the rivers and the lakes. Okay, then specific industries, they use water for cooling their operations. Their machinery operations are cooled by the water, isn't it? So that hot water is, that used water, that hot water is then let out into the water bodies. Clear? Another way in which the temperature of the water in the river is affected is when the water is let out from the dams. You find that when the water is let out from the dams, the deep reservoir, the water in the deep reservoir will be cooler than the water on the surface. Is that point clear? So temperature differences will be there in the water, because surface water gets heated up constantly, whereas on the deeper, in the depth of that reservoir, it will be more cooler. So that can affect the life in the water bodies. Okay? It can encourage the growth of some life, but at the same time it will harm the growth of the other life. Is that point clear? So water, the water pollution will lead to certain effects in life. These are the way in which the water is getting polluted. Okay, 4 to 5 points which I gave is the way in which the water is getting polluted. Now this water which has been polluted, how is it going to affect the life? So that is given point wise in your book. First is the addition of undesirable substances to water bodies, that is called water pollution. Okay, so these are how are these substances added? That is one I told you, fertilizers and pesticides, that those are harmful substances. Along with that, mercury salts which are used by the industries, all that can end up finally into the water, and that can lead to, it can also have, or water can also have disease causing organisms like bacteria which will cause cholera. So in this way, this particular water which is polluted by any of these means can be harmful to the human life. Secondly, the removal of desirable substance for water bodies. Dissolved oxygen is utilized by plants and animals which live in water. So if there is a change in the amount of dissolved oxygen, it will affect the life. You know that in water, aquatic life is there, both plant and animal, and they require oxygen. Now, if the dissolved oxygen content is less, that life will be affected. Now, how will the content of oxygen in the water reduce? If there are other substances which is preventing the solubility of oxygen, then it can lead to depletion of oxygen level, and that will lead to the death of the life in the water. Next you have is the change in the temperature. If the change in temperature is there, then also life will be affected. As I told you that the surface water will be more hot, whereas the water in the depth will be more cold. So that wide difference in the range of temperature can result into the death of the organisms which are living in the water. Even the eggs and the larvae of various animals are susceptible to the temperature changes. Is that point clear till here? Okay. So now you have having blue questions over here in this part also. Why do organisms need water? Just now I explained the importance of water in life. Okay. The previous page 193 page it is given. Why the question itself given in your textbook is why water is so necessary. Okay. So the answer which is given after that paragraph will be the answer to this question. Then the second and third question you may not write because it is a general question which is such questions may not be attempted. So in this part you will only write the question 1. Okay, only first question will be written in this part, whereas in the previous page, that is page number 193, all the 5 questions are to be written down in your notebook. Okay, so we stop till here. In the next class we will continue, in the next video we will continue with the further explanation of this chapter. Thank you.